Welcome to episode 63 of the Drag Drive Repeat Show presented by Summit Racing. Y'all, tonight's going to be a good one. We have big stuff going on tonight. We have Mike Galimi on here to talk about the 200 mile an hour club with Hot Rod Drag Week.
We're gonna pack things up and hit the road and try to make it the next day.
All right, guys. Well, my name is Mike Narx. I am the host of the Drag Drive Repeat show that you are watching right now, and also the host of the Drag Drive Repeat News, which happens on Saturday mornings live. You can see it right there in the top. And guys, I feel for Eric. He is working backstage tonight. They are traveling. They've got a couple hours worth of driving, and he's going to have to listen to my voice. Like I said in the intro there, I'm excited about tonight. We're going to have a good time. I got kind of nerdy on the stuff for Mike Galimi later. Well, let's jump into this thing, guys. You know how it is. Thank you so much for being our race car friend. Thank you for being here with us. Thank you for all the shares and comments and all that kind of stuff. And thank you to our sponsors, Summit Racing, Molly Motorsports, Driven Racing Oil, Car Change 3D, Howard's Cams, Performa Built, Sweet Patina, Racing Junk, and our newest media partner, PowerTube TV. Summit Racing ad read here real quick, and then we're going to get into some fun things. Summit Racing Speed Legacy began in 1968 as a one-man startup and is now the world's speed shop. With 4 facilities and 200 plus catalog editions, fueling your passion, they save you money, deliver fast, and offer top-notch customer service for more than 1,500 brands. Make sure to download the Summit Racing mobile app for easy access to speed parts. You can find them on Facebook, YouTube, TikTok, and Instagram. You can also tune in to the On All Cylinders podcast for discussions with automotive pioneers, enthusiasts, and manufacturers. From humble origins to the social media lane, Summit Racing stands by your need for speed. And guys, they just rolled out a Summit Racing rewards program. I know this is a big deal. For every dollar you spend, you get a point. Listen, this is going to be a big thing for a lot of folks. So you can sign up for rewards at summitracing.com/rewards. All right, for this week's Howard's Cams community segment, again, Howard's Cams is our official valve train of Drag Drive Repeat. We had Luke B on last week talking about this amazing brand and all the stuff that they do. And just because I know Eric White is listening, I'm going to go ahead and hit the intro for this segment, and we'll get started.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Harris from the Monoxide Podcast. Real quick, Howard's Cams was founded as a racing cam manufacturer almost 80 years ago when Howard Johansson created Howard's Power and Racing Equipment in 1945. Howard's Cams has always used on-track experience to design the most powerful designs, and today they have an even greater group of experienced racers in circle track, drag racing, road race, mud bog, and marine. They use all this input plus the most advanced computer software to design the most competitive race-winning products. From pioneers in drag racing and oval track to cutting-edge marine development, Howard's Cams is at the forefront of the industry. So make sure to reach out to our friend, Luke B, for your next valve train upgrade.
Awesome. And if you haven't done it yet, you need to go listen to the Monoxide podcast. It's awesome. All right. First up this week on this stuff, we are going to have a conversation with none other than Mike Galimi, who is backstage right now. I'm so excited to do this again. He's been on this will be a second time to visit the show. And we're going to talk about the Hot Rod Drag Week 200 mile an hour club members and all the stuff that goes along with that. But first, we got to talk about a couple updates from the community. Our boy, our man, our buddy, Red Hat Scotty, race car friend, wins the 10-0 Extreme Street at Streetcar Takeover kickoff party at Flying H Drag Strip. I think it was last week or the week before. Freaking awesome, man. Love it. Congratulations to him. He earned that. He's also coming out and racing 650 Index when we do the Midwest Drag Race Series, and he's going to be one of the racers that are going to park in with all the other drag and drive racers. Next up, Stefan Gustafsson the C4 Corvette. The Bitter Tears Corvette is in Sweden. He got it on Monday, which, if you're watching this now live, it is 2 days ago. But on Monday, the 13th or 12th or whatever day that was, it's been from Florida to Mexico to France and is now finally in Sweden. That's pretty awesome. And then he says the plan is to get the car prepped and compete in Street Week Sweden. It's going to be one of very few cars to have competed in that level. Maybe one of the very few cars ever to have competed on two different continents. So Street Week Sweden is the goal. And in the same, oh, sorry, real quick. It's been over here since 2022. So that car raced overseas for a long time, then came over here, and now it's going back. So one of the only cars I think that really ever do that. And then in the same container, the oh no, that doesn't have it. I don't have a picture of the Ascona from Magnus Frost. It is also back because it was in the same container. It is in Sweden and it's been in America for more than 6 years. So great to have those cars back home. Now it's time for them to tune them up and get to Street Week Sweden with that and take over and just beat that stuff down. Show those guys over there what they can do. I'm excited about that. I'm excited about him having or those guys having those cars back home. That's going to be kind of neat. And then I saw where Red Hat Scotty had said he's going to be racing in True Street. He said he doesn't want to race Keaton Maxon anymore. So, and then Keaton Maxon says, Red Hat Scotty, I had to order a bigger turbo. So those guys are going to have a lot of fun. This is going to be a good time. I'm excited to see the back and forth between those guys at the event as well. All righty. Well, let's talk about one thing that Joe Costello said the other day in one of the episodes that I was listening to. Mike Galimi here saying, "Yep, Michael Westberg has done both events as well, so that's pretty awesome." And he did it in two different cars too, so that's kind of neat. So be one of the only guys that have done both in the same car. So, but I guess Stefan has done. He did Street Week Sweden, then the car came here, and now it's going back. So, you know, I love it. That's the kind of stuff we're going to talk about with Mike when he jumps on. I'm pumped about this. But one thing I want to talk about is opportunities in the drag racing world. So Joe created a thought, right? He basically said, "What if we had 5 more NASCAR team owners come over to the NHRA and want to do professional level, high level racing? You know, would we be able to fill those teams?" So my initial thought is if you're interested at all in a career in motorsports, now is the time to start like just start trying to find that process. Figure things out, get your face in front of people. Now is the time to do it because we really are. We're going to look back and we're going to say this was the heyday. This was the golden age, the resurgence of car stuff. There's a lot of people pouring a lot of money into tracks, into events, into cars, into everything right now. So if you want to, you have no more excuses. Now is your opportunity. But him saying that really made, it just pushed me over the edge to want to tell you guys to do all that. I mean, look at your boy. I'm helping a couple different race series. I'm helping the track. I'm doing this right here with us. I mean, all this wouldn't be possible without all of that. All right, let's bring on Mr. Mike Galimi. Are you ready, Mike? You ready? Good to go? Perfect. All right, bringing you on, sir. All right, guys, you know who he is. You know who this guy, Mike Galimi, big time. He's a big deal. He's a big deal. Hot Rod Magazine,
I
Hot
don't
Rod
know about that,
Week.
but
You've been on. You told stories a couple months ago, and then now, dude, you're writing like a series of articles for the magazine and the website talking about Drag Week historical data. And I got all nerdy. So let's talk from and why the 200-mile-an-hour club is so elusive to people.
well, I
So
mean, I think it's hard because it's just to survive the week, right? I think there's
yeah,
been a couple of cars that have gone over 200 but didn't survive the week. So
yep.
it's 200 in general is really hard, and then you throw in drag week and it just complicates it.
Oh yeah, for sure. So I obviously stayed up late looking at a lot of stuff, and we're going to kind of work those in. So we got about an hour that you and I are going to spend kind of nerding out a little bit because I'm sure you've got your own notes too. But it looked to me like there were 39 times in the history of Drag Week that racers had been 200 plus at least one day during the week and finished the week. Of those 39 times, there's only 14 unique racers. How
Yeah.
crazy is that, man?
Yeah.
That's nuts to me. Absolutely
Yeah.
nuts.
And 19 cars would have, qualified for it, right? Because the driver makes it in, right? And I think that's been Freiberger's argument. But 19 cars have made it in, and only 14 drivers.
Yeah. Yeah, it's pretty wild.
It's
So,
impressive. Yeah, yeah. When you look at it, it's going on, 20 years.
yeah.
This year, the 20th running. I mean, that's a significant amount of vehicles.
Yeah, I mean, and it's pretty wild when you consider that the first one, just like your article said, Larry Larson was the first person. He's the inaugural member in that, and it didn't happen until 2009. So you've really done that in what's that? 13 years of racing? 14, I
Yeah,
guess.
yeah. And once it started, right, it just kept going like one or two a year.
Mm-hmm.
I think the big step was when Tom Bailey and Oaks they went, that one year they went to head with the Pro Mod and Tom 1.0.
Mm-hmm.
After that, then it seemed to have a regular cadence of, Joe Barry and Klein and all these other guys started jumping in on it. But to get to that first 200 took quite a while.
Yeah, and a lot of passes. So Larry did it first in the Nova or Chevy
Hmm.
2. He then, based on what I saw, or and maybe your notes here, he'd done it 4 times in that, and then did it once in the S10, right?
Yes.
I think that's what I had figured. The S10 in 2014, and then Bryant Goldstone. This is crazy. Has done it 7 times. So I know
Yeah.
he's not gonna be like, "Hey, you're a new member," but, like, he's done it 7 times. That's pretty awesome. 2015, 2016, 2018, 19, 21, 22, and 23, all in the javelin.
Yeah.
That's even cooler. He's one of the only guys that have done it in the same car that many times.
And really the same class, right? Ultimate Iron. He wasn't even,
Mhm.
well, I guess he was unlimited for 2 years.
That's cool. And it's
Yeah.
just the historical stuff within this is what gets me excited about this because it's really interesting that there's not just a ton of people that are digging into all this goofy stuff. So it's hard to find a lot of this stuff but you're making it easier because you're writing a lot of articles with this. I've got uh Tom Bailey's done it with 6 seconds 1.0 and 2.0, and he's done it
Hmm.
6 times. So, at least the way you explained it to me, to get into the 200 club, you've got to finish the week and run 200 miles an hour plus on a day other than day one.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
correct.
So that's pretty hard because day one, it doesn't matter. You can lay it out on day one because your truck and trailer's there. But day three, you're 400 miles from the track. Are you willing to let it eat and do it then?
Yeah, no, it's definitely an interesting, and I think when David and Keith Turk, you kind of look back at their history, right, in Bonneville, and Bonneville, you have to do a record run, but it's not just once; you have to come back the next day, right? You get put in
Wow.
impound, they check the car, then the next morning you have another shot at it, and if you back it up, then you get in the 200 club and get the record. Um, so I think their compromise is like, okay, well, the record thing is kind of hard. It's not like Bonneville. So they said, okay, day two, right? So you have to at least do one drive, and then you have to finish the week.
Yeah. Yeah, the finish the week because there were a lot of guys that had. I mean, the numbers would be you'd have had one every year essentially,
Right?
if you allowed day one and to not finish. Because
Yeah.
there's a lot of times where folks didn't finish, and that's what I was finding that because I was trying to search in my spreadsheets by okay, largest to smallest, and then couldn't have a DNF. So like every time I clicked another button, it was just like. Like it just kept getting smaller and smaller. So it's pretty
Well,
awesome.
so you've got the database. I guess my question for you is, how many people outside of Drag Week have done a similar accomplishment?
PowerTube TV is your ultimate destination for automotive entertainment. Join them on this incredible journey dedicated to providing you with an unparalleled streaming experience. Whether you're whether you're on our web-based 100% free streaming site, Roku, or mobile apps, indulge in your favorite automotive shows, shorts, and podcasts. Want more choices to watch? You can watch PowerTubes TV powerful programming on Android, Fire, and Apple TV as well. Join us on PowerTube TV and experience the thrill of automotive entertainment like never before. Speed, power, and community await you. Find out more at Watch PowerTube TV or watchpowertubetv.com and watch pttv.com. And a new show, this is what this is here. A new show is debuting on PowerTube. Join the Car Guy Show hosts as they journey across the country, delving into a world of car enthusiasts. From awe inspiring collections to thrilling events, they uncover the passion and excitement of car culture, exploring the places and sites that fuel their love for automobiles. And your boy has already messaged them and asked what we got to do to get them on a drag and drive and have they ever been and all that kind of stuff. So I saw where they had replied back during the show here, actually, while we were doing that. And this show is live right now. If you're Central Time, you can watch the Car Guy Show right now on the PowerTube TV app, or you can wait at 11 p.m. It'll be back on as a double air episode. So I didn't dive into that, but that's my next goal for this week is to start looking at that because that's the next level of stuff. Is like a great question came up the other day from Jason Golden's wife Liz. She was like, who has the fastest nitrous stuff, right? Who's what's the top 10 of nitrous? Well, man, it's so hard because the data we typically get from events, you almost have to know the car to know if it's turbo or nitrous or whatever. And so going back through all of that is easier with drag week because it gives me the car, which makes it easier. Some events don't have the carb as public information. So they may have gotten there, but all I have is like their ET. So some events early on, all they collected was ET because we didn't care about mile an hour. Well, now when you start looking at like all these, they're not micro records because they're records or their data that we're collecting or history stuff. But like, where do you stop it? Like, who's had the best reaction time? Who's had the, like who's put a better package together? Um, but yeah, so my next goal is to do all of sick week, because we have 3 years of sick week. I want to do Six Summers only had 1 year, but I'll definitely go through all that. So I'm gathering all the 2023 stuff together because that was a huge year for the events. And then do you look at regional events compared to just national? I think right now I'm just going to focus on national stuff.
Yeah, and
Four,
I think
four
the
days of
5 days.
racing or more.
Yeah, yeah,
Yep.
the 5 days, 4 drives. I think that's kind of the standard for the upper tier stuff. But
Yep.
in the same vein as nitrous, what about supercharged cars?
Yeah.
It's
I'm
it's
telling you. Well, and then you have like roots
yeah,
blower, and then centrifugal blower, which we've gone through with Chuck Stefanski. Like,
yeah.
who's the quickest centrifugal blower? Well, I mean, maybe he is. I don't know because I don't have that info. So then I'm literally when somebody's like, oh, I wonder. Well, then like I spent 2 hours last night looking through Facebook pictures of cars from 2015 trying to see something under the hood to see if it was nitrous or turbo or blower or whatever. So,
Yeah, no, it's you can get really in the weeds on a lot of this
mhm.
stuff, and that's what kind of makes it fun.
Yeah, and I agree 100%. And what's funny is like, we start talking about clicking things out. Like as you go down through just looking at drag week data, it's like, okay, well, nitrous cars, I mean, you're talking about 10 or 15 cars in the top level in all of history of drag week that would be in low eights or faster. Because Jason Golden put up like a 801 at Sick Week, uh, 2023 or 2024. Yeah, Sick Week 2024. Well, I mean, obviously he's not going to be all out nitrous record, but is he all out small block nitrous record? Maybe. Is he all out small block Ford nitrous record? You know what I mean? Like, how deep do you
Hmm.
go with it? So that's kind of fun. Sorry, back to the 200 Club because let me get through these because we've got some
Okay.
good conversations here. So we talked about Tom Bailey. Jeff Lutz has 3 cars in the mix. I thought that was pretty cool. Both 57s and the Mad Max Camaro. He's done it 4 times total: 2010, 2012, 2014, 2016. Joe Barry, our boy, 4 times in the 56. So same car 4 times. Thought that was pretty cool. 2014, 15, 17, and 21. Dave Schroeder, obviously 2 times in the old vet, 1 time in the new vet. and then Michael Borgren twice in the Volvo, and then one-time members, Dave Ahokas, which you just wrote an article about that. You and I were talking about that car, and the
Hmm.
Camaro. That. He did it once in 2013 and then hasn't been back. And that's what started the conversation with really even you being on tonight was because I was like, what happened to Dave Ahokas? And you were like, I don't know. And then you started digging, I started digging. We were looking at stuff. What happened with the car? You had a Facebook post where it was for sale at one point. I mean, just crazy. 2013. He's like, deuces, I'm out. No more drag racing, no more drag week for me.
Yeah,
It's
no, that
crazy.
was out of the blue, and it's funny you had mentioned him, and we started talking about him, but it was probably, gosh, I don't know, like 2 months ago, and I don't know if it was Freiberger or Loans who sent that Facebook
That's
uh,
awesome.
post over. It was like, holy cow, it's like you're looking at it, it's
Yeah.
like 90 grand, like you start thinking like, man, that like a little bit of modern technology updates, I think could be pretty competitive these days.
Yeah, oh yeah. Yeah, for sure. You start thinking about Brian Loans wrote an article for Sick the Mag that was talking about, we're gonna see some sixes in small tire stuff. And like that car went sixes in 2013. So he's
Right.
in there. Doug Klein in the Camaro in 2014, and that was a nitrous car at that time.
Oh,
Kind of cool. Stefan Gustafsson in the C4 Corvette
no,
in
no,
2020.
Doug Klein's car is a twin turbo big block.
Well, that's what I thought. But if I even back in 2014.
Yeah. Yep.
Oh, okay. Well, see, yeah, so there's 13 unique racers. Um, so I missed one because your article said 14. No, he would have been in the club, but I had it as nitrous. Never mind. Sorry. Um, and then Stefan Gustafsson 2019, Alex Taylor in the 55, and Michael Westberg in the S10 in 2022. And then Josh Davis in the Mustang and Clark Rosensingle in the Camaro at 2023. So that
Yep.
wraps out our folks. Sorry, I was getting my nitrous stuff mixed up. Yes, Doug Klein is not a nitrous car. I apologize about that. I
Yeah.
was got deep on the nitrous looking there as well.
Yeah.
And then
Got a little excited.
yeah, oh, dude, listen, that's the problem with doing that at 11:30 at night is like, oh, I'll just look real quick. It'll be fine. Nope. Um, I wanted to talk about a couple people that are bridesmaids that have almost made it into the 200-mile-an-hour club. Tom McGilton,
Yeah.
199.17 miles an hour on day two. Oh, that's
Yeah.
gotta be heartbreaking. And then
Unbelievable.
198.93 on day 3 of 2017. So not only did he get almost there once, he got almost there twice that week. That'd be pretty tough. Ryan Hargett, 196. That car, that car can go 200 for sure. Before he has pulled it out and put it in the new 70 Camaro, we know that car is going to go 200. And then Glenn Hunter Jr., 196.70 on day 5 of 2019. So,
I
I mean,
must have looked. I must have looked 10 times for Glenn Hunter. I was convinced
yeah,
he was over 200 on drag week, and I just kept going back to it. I was like, no, this list is wrong. And Tanya Turk is the one who's maintained the list.
yeah, she's
Um,
awesome.
and so I went back. I kept looking. I was like, man, I know he did,
Yeah.
and but apparently not. But it's coming for him. Man. I know it's only a matter of time.
Oh, that car is so cool, and he's such a cool dude.
Hmm.
He's earned it for sure. He's earned it for sure.
Yeah.
We need to, there's no honorary members in that club, but he can be a bridesmaid. Hopefully, he'll get that sorted for 2024. Um, and then racers with 200-mile-an-hour passes every day. I thought this was kind of fun. Bryant Goldstone, love that dude. He's done that 3 times. Tom Bailey's done it 3 times. Jeff Lutz has done it 3 times. Doug Klein once, and Michael Westberg once. So 200 miles an hour plus every day. That's pretty amazing feat in itself.
Yeah. When you look at the numbers, and the people on the list that haven't done 200 every day, and you kind of think about it, it's like, okay, they got their 200 and then they backed off, right, and then they came back
Yeah,
on. So it definitely is impressive when you do 200 every day. Shows how
yeah.
hard it is.
Oh yeah. Well, and again, just like you said, drive 1,000 miles and run 200 every day and put that car on the limit. I mean, dude, that's hard. Like because it's not like these cars run 240 all the time. Bailey's car has been 250 and then 240 several times, all that kind of stuff. I didn't get into what's 225 and above because that number gets about this big. There's two or three guys maybe that have done that. Um,
Two.
yeah, right. It's crazy.
You guys. Yeah.
A- And I think it's wild. Like we're finally in a point now where things like this are interesting because there's a lot of people that are wanting to push for that kind of stuff. I think it's going to bring a lot more people from, of course, now I'm working with a lot of pro mod teams and all that kind of stuff with the Midwest Drag Race Series. And so I just automatically think, how can these cars get there? I was talking to Jason Hurley through Messenger earlier today, talking about because I'm trying to work on him to bring him to the Kansas City race because I'm doing like a display, kind of like the NHRA is with the peak deal. So we're going to do like a drag and drive display, right? And trying to get him to come over. And I'm like, man, you could race Pro 420 and go up against those. I mean, those are real race cars. He's like, man, I don't know if I want to slow my car down that much. I'm like, dude, think about how much of a like those are full blown race cars. Those dudes would have never thought about putting that thing on the street. And then here comes Jason Hurley just gonna beat on them. Like that's pretty awesome.
It's like remember Larry Larson did it with the Nova and the S10 for NHRA Top Sportsman at Topeka, and he ended
Yeah,
up winning I think it was with the S10.
that's awesome.
Yeah.
That's
But the
awesome.
Nova he drove there, no trailer or anything. I think he hung out at like Matusic's rig and had his stuff in the trunk and made a bunch of hits and went home.
Right? Like that's what I love about Drag and Drive, dude. Like who would run that car around and and be able to do that? And what's cool about that is you pull up in that car and park. And then there's a guy that's got this huge toter home, a big trailer, stacker trailer, all the stuff, and then you go out and you beat that guy. Like that's pretty impressive.
Oh yeah, yeah. And then take it back to the hotel that night.
Yeah, and have parking lot beers and don't tear the car down completely in the parking lot.
Yeah.
So I think it's going to be fun. I love seeing all the publicity where the Drag and Drive family's getting. And you were talking about drag weekers are going to be racing at the end of the month at the New England Nationals. Is that right?
Yeah, they're going to do a drag and drive exhibition at New England Dragway for the NHRA national event. Jeff Sias was, I guess, the catalyst for a lot of that. Brian Loans got involved, and then I know Glenn Hunter's going. Gosh, I forget who else, but it's 8-car field, like normal, but it's just
Yeah.
an exhibition, right? Like I know we did the one in Charlotte where it was 850 style.
Hmm.
This one's just an open exhibition. Rick Stanky's coming up with the crew cab Chevelle, and
Nice.
yeah, so it'll be a fun weekend showing off what these cars are capable of.
Well, and again, they'll give them, if it's anything like what you put together for all the drag weekers, which I'm sure it will be, it's, they get their special parking area. It's kind of like, as people walk by, they're like, why do these cars have their own trailer? Where's their tow rig? Where's their whole pit setup? And oh, that doesn't happen on Drag and Drive. So these guys are racing out of their pits
Yeah,
and that was a blast, man.
yeah, and that's neat, and it's shout out to Sarah Walker and the whole NHRA staff for putting it all together. Right, they're the ones who make it happen and carved out the space and disrupted their midway and everything to host us. They do a great job. I know, and the same thing this weekend in Route 66 with the peak drag and drive stuff. Same thing, right? They don't have to do it, but they do it because they know that we're part of the community and our racers are something unique that their fans normally don't get to see.
Yeah, and I think that's why I'm most excited about introducing a lot of these guys to the pro mod teams and all that stuff because a lot of those guys, like Aaron Wells, has a street Camaro at home. He races a 3.5 second pro mod 10 times a year with the Midwest Drag Race Series, and then he's got that car at home. Like you turn a guy loose that has the budget to run a pro mod that many times a year, and now he can see a drag and drive. He's like, okay, you know. So now I'm trying to figure out how I put together like a weekend event. Can the guy show up Thursday night and we race we do Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, ending on Saturday. How do we work in a full on drag and drive and me not drop the ball on it? Because man, there's a lot of work that goes into that. You know more than anybody probably, but the level of taking care of folks and then also taking care of all the racers we got to worry about too at the same time. So
Right,
yeah,
right. Not aggravating your core customer that you see, like you said, 10 times a year, and integrating this new element into it without, without being rude about it, but and disrupting everything.
right. Well, let's talk about some stuff you get. What are some of the articles that you're writing, and go into some of that if you can give us that.
um, well, I mean, I've got to finish off the last few stories for the 200 mile an hour club. Gustafson and the Volvo. Those are the last two, right? Because in 2022 and 2023, we had 200 mile an hour stories. So we're just kind of going back and visiting, everybody else and how they got into the club. So that the
That's
story's
awesome.
been told for the last 2 years. Well, let's just go back and get the older ones. So I've got to finish out those two stories tomorrow. Just got back from Streetcar Bragging Rights down in Carolina Dragway, which is a fantastic event. Nate Prater did a great job with, great attention to detail, really fun event, and mostly street cars, right? And cool kind of cars that I enjoy. So personally and professionally, it was a great. So we got a bunch of features that came out of there, some race coverage. Then we've got Meekum this weekend also, which is at Indy, which is like
Mm,
their big event. So we got a lot of those stories hitting, kind of previewing cars that are going over the block that are unique. We've got like a replica of the 50 million vehicle that Chevrolet produced. I think it was a 56 Chevy that's in gold,
wow.
which is a fun read, fun story, some really good history there. So just trying to hit a little bit of everything on the market, from racing to the car show side.
That's cool. So I saw Dave Ahoka's article, and then what was the one you sent me after that?
Joe
Uh,
Barry,
Joe Barry.
Joe
That's right. Yeah.
Barry. Yeah, and we're running them out in order, right? So
Yeah.
tomorrow, Goldstone and Schroeder's two stories will hit, and talk about both their accomplishments and how they got there. Especially Schroeder, which is such an incredible, the only nitrous car and two of them,
Yeah.
on the list, which is fun.
Yeah. The nitrous technology, I really, where do we see a lot of nitrous stuff come in? Is it that 8-second car? I would think. I mean, after that, you really probably gotta go turbo stuff. I mean, or blower. I mean, but turbos. I'm a turbo guy. So
Yeah, nah, same here. No, but it's fun to see those guys, have a challenge, like the Sweets and Doc and all those NA cars too, right? Same struggle, similar challenge, right? High compression,
mhm.
massive lift cams, high RPM, all the really the same challenges, those guys face, just in just without the nitrous.
Yeah, I can't imagine NA stuff. That's a rabbit hole I've got to go down next. I keep telling all the NA guys I'm gonna put together a top 10 NA list, but it's like it's sevens and then mid eights and above. Like
Hmm.
there's not like everybody chopping at the bit there. It's
Right.
you get your fast three, and then everybody else is kind of after that. So and
Yeah.
then we break it down, you do small block and you do big block and then
it
lots of
it can get
research.
sliced and diced, yeah.
Yeah. So,
But
yeah, we need how so the question is, how do I get more detail on that stuff? Do I just do it that way, or does like on the entry form, do they have that kind of info, but it's just not made public on because I mean, 99.9% of people don't care.
um, I don't think that is on the entry form. Um,
I don't think
this
so
is going
either.
to sound really crazy. I've never actually seen one. So that the event staff thankfully handles a lot of that. I get a list at the end of it,
Yeah.
with names, but
Mm. Yeah.
so I don't think it does cover a specific combination. But I mean, the great thing about Google is you could just start searching, right? Pull up on
Yeah.
on social media. If they're on social media, odds are they're going to picture under the hood.
Yep.
Someone knows someone in this world. It's a small
Right.
world, especially on the drag and drive side. So, um, just it's like Google's your friend, man. You could find a lot on there.
Well, and that's what I've been doing a lot. Like, the historical hot rod archives, man, they've been amazing.
Yeah.
Just type in like, Brian Goldstone Hot Rod Drag Week 2015, and it'll pull something up.
Yeah.
It's pretty awesome. It's pretty
Yeah.
awesome. Well, what else is coming up for you? Where are you going to be this year? Are you doing power tour? You doing drag week? What all you got going on?
Yes to everything. Yeah. So Power Tour is the big one coming up next month. We're about 3 weeks away, I think.
Mhm.
Well, we're gonna start in Bowling Green, Kentucky, and have a short little drive down to Nashville, then head back up into Kentucky into Louisville, then
Oh,
Louisville up
shit.
to Columbus, Ohio, and Columbus, Ohio over to Indy. So
Well,
that's
that'll be a
the
great
you
drive.
know yeah, it's gonna be great. The quickest sellout we've ever had. Um, yeah,
Dude,
there's gonna
cars are
be
cool, man. Cars are cool.
yeah, over 6,000 long haulers. Um, it's going to be pretty wild. It's going to be massive as it always is. I think it'll be the biggest it's ever been. It's the 30th anniversary. Um, I think the route I just saw that today, which is looks really great. Um, so it's good. Yeah, that's big. Obviously on the radar. Obviously heading up to NHRA before that for for our Dragon Drive event. Um, this summer I think I'm going to try and get out to the Good Guys event. I've never been to a Good Guys event,
Yeah,
and
I've been once, but it was forever ago.
so I'm gonna probably head out to the Good Guys Columbus, but there's a little event in Michigan that I think will be announced here shortly, coming up later in the summer, and then back to Drag Week.
Yeah.
Um, so Drag Week should be really good. We are working on the route now. I know that's been a concern for a lot of people, just in terms of stops and you know just challenging roads with
Mhm.
potholes and that sort of problem. So this summer we'll be out there. I'll be out there with someone else to pre-run the route before the event and
Nice.
somewhat close to the event, so that we can make sure that construction. We've got someone in
Right.
DOT who's going to help us figure out, make sure that construction is not going on the roads we've selected, and then I'll be out there firsthand to say, okay, yeah,
Yeah.
this parking lot's not going to work. Or if it's a restaurant, like, hey, look, on this date, you know, be staffed up, be ready to go.
Be ready because we've got,
Yeah.
600 people
Hmm.
coming.
Yeah.
That's cool. And then, for people, don't forget drag pack. If you didn't get into the race, get into the drive. You can make the drive with them, do all the stuff from there. It's kind of
Yep.
the road week and sick word of Hot Rod Drag Week. I think that'll be fun too.
Yeah, and you can still get on the wait list, right? It's still
Yeah.
open and available. You can sign up. If you didn't think you were going to make it, but now you're like, hey, man, the Pistons came in, the Crank and Rods came in. It's looking pretty good. By all means, sign up on the wait list,
Yeah.
and I mean, we've never had a sold out crowd. We've sold out, but it's never been a max capacity crowd, I guess you'd call it,
Yeah.
on the cruise.
Yeah. So, at the end of the day, here's the deal. If you were going to go, you were going to go. Even if you weren't signed up, but it's
Yeah.
always a good idea to get on the wait list simply because like it locks in a spot that's typically available. The
Yeah.
struggle is like even with the circuit, we had the problem where people didn't even tell us they weren't coming, but they just didn't show up. So
Right.
obviously we took folks that showed up day of because I mean that's what you
Yeah.
do. If you made the attempt and you were there, we're letting you race.
Yeah. Let's have some fun for sure.
Yeah, that's exactly right. All right. Well, dude, I appreciate you coming on. Appreciate you listening to my brain damage on the on the stats. I'm loving the articles, man. It's really fun to you know see you go back through all that stuff and tell those stories because there's a lot of stuff to learn there. And for the folks that are just coming into the sport, I think that kind of attention is going to bring a lot more people in. That's kind of the goal always.
Oh yeah, definitely. It's good to see where you came from, especially, just looking back at the results. I mean, Lutz and Larson. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
I mean, it was like run for run, just blow for blow. I mean, that was a crazy, crazy bunch of years that those two guys battled out. It was fun.
Yep. It would be fun to see them come back or a new rivalry emerge. There's I
Hmm.
think we're in a spot where we can have some good rivalry stuff come up,
Sure.
good passes like that made, but I think everybody's having fun with it still. There's not there's not any bad blood in the water anymore. Nobody's like hating on each other or anything like that. So, everybody's just enjoying it running fast. So it's pretty cool.
Yeah, no, and I agree with loans. The small tire deal. Look, that's really starting to take shape.
Yeah.
Difference of opinion on some of the stuff he said, but I do agree that the small tire wars are kicking into gear, and
Yeah.
I think there's a lot more small tire cars out there than big tires. So it'll be fun how that starts to transition and change over the next few years.
Yeah. Well, and again, are we going to see this? Is that going to push all the big tire guys to go faster now? And then that'll push the small tire guys to go faster, and
Yeah, and I
you
don't
got to
know if
finish.
it's I don't think if it's a comparison, between the two. I know like Sick Week had really great radio prep, right? And
Mhm.
and that for a big tire car, it's hard to get down, right? I mean, I'm sure Jeff had shook a bunch. I know Schroeder, wasn't Schroeder, it was somebody else had shook. It's just challenging, right? Like, so you
Yeah.
can't get after it. And like, put the radio guy on a slick track, and then tell me how that works out,
Yeah.
right?
Right.
So I think small tire stuff just in general, and as a theme, I think is going to be really good and a lot of fun and a lot of good battles that could come.
Yep. Bring it on. I'm ready. All right, dude. Well, I'll let you get to it. Thank you so much again for coming on tonight.
Promise.
Second time on here. Definitely not going to be your last. We got a lot of brain damage to talk about as the year goes on, and all the fun stuff that comes from these drag and drive events.
All right, man. I appreciate you having me on.
All right, dude. See you
Later.
How fun, y'all! I'm telling you, I like that guy. I love the knowledge that he has, and I love all the articles. So if you're not following Hot Rod Drag Week or Hot Rod Magazine, it's like almost habit now for me to say Hot Rod Drag Week. So Hot Rod Magazine or Mike Galimi, Galimi. You need to be doing that. So got a big show next week. Tommy Dupree of Summit Racing is going to be on. We're going to be talking about his drag and drive experience, which events he's attended, and how they schedule 51 event attendance a year. Think about that. Can you imagine trying to put your team together for 51 events per year? And that's everything. They do rounds, circle track, dirt track, drag race, drag and drive, Texas 2K, FL 2K, all the stuff that comes in from that, and all the Donald Long races and all that kind of stuff. So pretty interesting. I'm excited to pick his brain a little bit. He's also building a new drag and drive vehicle, which I think is going to be a lot of fun. And he's announcing a big deal for drag and drive racers that are going to that will take place at events that maybe the Summit truck can't be at. That's all I'm going to say. So kind of a neat deal there, to let you guys know. So again, thank you very much. Thank you guys so much for being our race car friend and being here tonight. Thank you for the comments over there. Thank you for the shares. Thank you for everything that you've provided for us tonight. It's been pretty amazing being on here. I will say I have missed Eric White tremendously. I know he was backstage while they were driving, showing comments on the screen and all that kind of stuff. So thank you to him for doing that. And then thank you so much to our sponsors, Summit Racing, Molly Motorsports, Driven Racing Oil, Car Change 3D, Howard's Cams, Performer Built Transmissions, Sweet Patina, Racing Junk, and Power Tube TV. And then Carl B here saying, hey, thanks, man. Another great show. Thanks again, Mike and Eric, wherever you are. He is somewhere on the road headed east. So, all right, guys, thanks again. We'll see you soon. Bye.
Like this show? Want more? Then head to WatchPTTV.com, the new 100% free PowerTube TV streaming network. Home of the best classic and new motorsports racing and build shows on the web.